Hey guys, Joseph Aronson here. On this episode, I'm gonna break down some of my favorite tricks and tips on how to access your equity. Here we go. All right guys, so a lot of us out there, we're sitting on a good amount of equity. With all this appreciation that's happened over the last 2 years, you might be sitting on more money than you even know. So I get this question a lot, and that's, Joe, what can I do with my equity? It looks great on paper. However, what can you actually do with that? Well, there's a few ways that you can actually access that equity. I'm going to get into that. But first, I want to talk about some of the proper channels to go down, or I guess proper ways to use that equity, and then maybe a few downfalls or a few areas that I would recommend against using that equity. So let's start off there. First and foremost, some good ways to use that equity. Maybe you're planning on remodeling your house. That's probably a good way, right? You're taking equity out to actually reinvest it into your property. I see that as being a good investment. Maybe taking that equity out to buy another property. It's also a very sound investment. But what I would prefer not to see my clients do is take that equity out to go buy a boat, right? A depreciating asset, to go buy a luxury asset. Now, do you, if you feel comfortable with it, I'm not recommending against it, but or I'm not gonna support you in it, but hey, do you. So that's my recommendations. When you're pulling out this equity, guys, let's utilize it in a smart way and put it into an actual asset or another investment. So here's how you actually can pull out that equity. There's really three major ways. So first and foremost, you can actually sell your property to just get the equity. That's easy, everybody knows that one, right? Now, if you have tax implications, ask me, I can give you some guidance on that. However, the second one that I'd like to talk about is actually called a cash out refi. Now, a lot of people know about this, but there are a few things to look out for. So first and foremost, when you do a cash out refi, typically, you're not going to be able to do that cash out refi until you've been in the home or been in the current mortgage payment for about 6 months. So after that time, then you can go ahead and do a cash out refi. And there are a lot of folks who bought 6 months, a year ago, 2 years ago, that actually have built up enough equity to where they can do a cash out refi. This second thing to look out for, when you do a cash out refi, typically your interest rate is going to be a little bit higher. So you don't want to really do a cash out refi unless you absolutely have to, especially if you're in one of those low 2% interest rate mortgages, because, well, our interest rates are a lot higher right now. So you want to save that if you can. And then the last option, which is very lucrative, but you got to be careful how you use it, and that is a HELOC, or a home equity line of credit. Now, it's a great option for a short-term investment that you can pay back. You don't want to take out a HELOC loan and then use those funds and not have a way to pay back those funds. So if it's a short-term investment, buying a flip property, renovating it, selling it, and then paying back the HELOC, great, I've done that. It's a great way to utilize that HELOC loan. However, only take out that HELOC loan if you know you're going to be able to pay it back. So now that I've given you guys that, I want to give you guys my 2 favorite ways to use your equity. Okay, first and foremost, if you have to renovate your property, you want to renovate your property. Let's say you've been in your property for 3, 4, 5 years and you just have natural equity over time and you have enough of it, go ahead and do a cash out refi. It's a great way to get $50,000, $100,000 out of your property and go ahead and reinvest it into your home to even bring up the value even more. So that's a great option for you folks out there. Now, what if you've only been in your home for 6 months? And yes, properties have appreciated, but you don't necessarily have a ton of equity that you can refinance to pull that out. Well, the home equity line of credit is a great option there. So typically, you can pull out a HELOC loan, spend those funds just like pretty much a credit card or a debit card, and then go ahead and renovate your property. Now, the catch here is that you renovate your property to an extent that you know that when you go to refinance, you're going to be able to pay back that home equity line of credit. So the strategy here is get the home equity line of credit, do the renovations, and then go ahead and refinance the property to go ahead and pay off that home equity line of credit. The great part about it is you're not doing cash out refi, you're actually paying off other debt on the property, so your interest rate should be just a little bit lower. So those are my two favorite ways to utilize your equity. And the last thing I would say is always remember that you can use those, basically the same terms that I just said, to go ahead and use those funds for a down payment on another investment property. Now that's a great option for anybody out there. I personally purchased a property, multifamily property, with my home equity line of credit. Now there's some people out there that say you're not supposed to do that. However, it worked out great. We purchased the property with the equity line, went ahead and renovated the property, and then refinanced the property to pay off the equity line. And it was a great investment and a great way to utilize the equity of our home. So just a thought. Feel free to reach out to me, guys. I love this stuff. This is what I live for. I like getting creative. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or anybody here on the team. All right, guys, take care.